Welcome to Soul Talk. This is Nancy Orland Weber, and do I have guests to be interviewed? I can't wait to share him with you. The world has known him for some time, at least a part of the world. I have met people, giving you a little heads up, I have met people in his waiting room, and they were from, let's see, Pakistan, Taiwan, Mexico, Guatemala, California, and other places. Occasionally, because we're in New Jersey, and I am so lucky he is 45 minutes from me, but most of the people fly in, and there's a good reason for that. So, one of the things I think I can say safely is there are certain eye vision issues I used to have, but in 2019, I picked up the phone to somebody and found out, oh, go call Andy, she said, dear friend of mine. Who's he? So I went there. And that particular problem with the vision, which could be very serious, I don't have. So, welcome to Soul Talk. And I am thrilled I get to talk to at length, not just lay on the table and get needled. Dr. Andy Rosenfarb. Hi. I'm
Hello, my dear. So great to see you, Nancy.
I am so thrilled you can't believe it. But here I want others to know why. It's so important because I sit there with others and they tell me their stories and how somebody just called me and said, oh, you go to Dr. Rosenfarb? I said, yeah. She said, my son's friend went there and immediately 60% improved over something quite serious. And I said, yes. And so, what made you decide before you because I know you do all kinds of things.
Yeah, yeah.
But what made you decide to go back?
Great question. So I was pre-med in college. I was kind of in that realm. My senior year, I was in college, upstate New York in Atlanta, studying for my MCATs, finishing up my senior year. And my father had a long history of high blood pressure, hypertension, weight issues, and he went to a mutual friend of ours for acupuncture in Melbourne, New Jersey. And after about 6 months, he got off his old blood pressure medication that he'd been on for about 10 years. He knew that I was going to study medicine. And I came home one day and he was like, do acupuncture. You should kind of check this out. He knew I'd been into martial arts and into yoga, I was into health and fitness and that type of philosophy. And you should check this out. It's pretty interesting. Lost my blood pressure now, lost a lot of weight, feeling really good. All right, I'll go, check it out. It's kind of weird, but met a mutual friend, and he was like, we want to sit down and maybe ask you some questions and tell you about Chinese medicine. So we sat down, did an intake, he's asking me about all these weird questions that seemed like, why is he asking me about my school? Why is he asking me about like if I have any different types of body odor and stuff like that? And I was medicine. I was going to med school. So very interesting. He actually ultimately let me follow him around a little bit and saw some patients because I was interested in it. It was really fast. I just saw, I caught it. I caught the chi. I just kind of was like, okay, there's something here. I'm very interested. Next question. Do they actually have schools for this stuff? Like, I didn't know. So I started reading. He gave me a couple of books, and I said, "Here, read about this." It was before the internet. We didn't really have all that, so we're using books and articles and magazines back then. And it just, I aligned with it, and I went out to San Diego to visit a school instead of senior year spring break going to Florida with my friends and my fraternity brothers. I decided to go out to California to look at acupuncture colleges. Went out to San Diego, college called Pacific College of Oriental Medicine, and just fell in love. I was like, I could definitely live here for the next 4 years. Acupuncture, Chinese medicine was it, and I didn't really know what I was about to get into, but I know that it just felt right. And what I had read just felt there's a lot of alignment for me and a lot of clarity that this was what I should be doing.
I am so happy that you were so intuitive about life. We've talked a lot during sessions also. Uh, well, not during the session because I am so peaceful there. It's hard to open your mouth and say a word. But I have met people who come to you for everything, only eye vision, acuvision, right?
Mhm, mhm. Yeah.
And right now I'm using the red light therapy glasses from
Mm.
you
Yeah.
and the AC, I forget the number,
ACS. Yeah.
ACS. So I have all the equipment. I feel like I'm taking part of him home because
Yeah.
that's how I want it. If I could take you home, I would.
Yeah.
So, what made you go for eye to brain? And eye to brain, for those who don't know, it's not needles in your eyes. Thank you. I would never do
It's the
that.
first question everybody asks.
I know, but I didn't. I knew you wouldn't do that.
You know, right.
No, you points, right? And
Yeah.
just to give a little background before you talk about it and tell us, back in the 70s or 80s, yeah, 70s, uh, a client was saying, "How do you know all this about my body?" And I said, "Well, there are these things, I don't know what you call them, but these lines and points." And she said, "Oh, you mean meridians and acupuncture points?" I said, "Well, what's that?"
Yeah.
So, and
Yeah.
I went to a chiropractor who was trained by Dr. George Goodhart, one of the first
Mm.
ones. And we played constantly. And I saw the first thing I saw on his wall was an acupuncture meridian chart.
Interesting.
Right. So I've always been in love with all of it from that moment on because
Yeah.
it made so much sense. And when my friend told me about, our mutual friend told me about you, it was a no-brainer. I picked up the phone, made the appointment that day. I thought,
Yeah.
oh, that means he knows how many points on the body?
365 traditional, over 1,000 empirical. It's a lot of acupuncture points.
Right. And you know them all.
Yeah.
I have no other comment. Go ahead. What made you go to iBrain? I'm just so
So,
shocked.
so it was interesting. So I came out of school. I knew I wanted to specialize. I kind of out of school. So I started with allergies because I used to have horrible allergies, high school, college, even in acupuncture school. And I got a lot of resolution recovery from that. So I figured, all right, I did so great with allergies. Let me go out and help people. I just got bored with it. Long and short, I did it. I liked it, but I just got pretty bored with it after a year or so. And then I got very into heavy working with cancer patients, which I loved. I spent about 2 years really very, very intensively working with all stages of the cancer patients, a lot of end stage. And I love that. I had a lot of passion for that. And around that time, I had an individual reach out to me, called me, older gentleman from tough guy from Brooklyn, Bronx, old Jewish guy. And he was like, I have glaucoma. I know you're the guy who's going to do it. And there's acupuncture who's going to help me. I'm like, all right. So the one of the backstory is one of the things in acupuncture school that was kind of common at the time was you can't really help people with eye issues. It was kind of like I said, there's a few conditions, hearing loss, eye conditions. So fortunately for me, I never really listened to people very well, it's one of those guys like, oh yeah, I'll show you. So he came to me, and I was just overwhelmed by his confidence and his level of certainty that I was going to be able to help him save his sight with glaucoma. And it was 2 years in, maybe 3 years practicing. And I was like, I don't know anything about eyes. So I showed him, I'm like, look at my notes from school from 4 years. I have 4 sides or 3 sides of notes for all eye conditions. Like there wasn't much taught on it. He's like, I got a couple of resources for you, and you're going to learn this stuff and you're going to help me. Okay, all right. So he actually connected me with another gentleman who had some experience in working with eye patients, mostly macular degeneration, but he had done some work with glaucoma. he reached out to this guy and kind of arranged this me for connecting with this guy. Long and short, after about a year and a half, I made it out to train with this guy in Arkansas. And that started it all. So I came back and I was working with Manny, and he just got really, really, really good results. And he was, I see, I told you, you listened to me. It was just like this guy, that angel that came out of nowhere that was just like, you're doing this, follow me, just kind of. So his confidence was a huge impact for me. So when I started entertaining the idea that I was going to help people with vision, I realized fast that there wasn't a lot out there. So this is years ago, before I was married, before I had kids. I literally went on my own vision quest to find anything and everything I could find relating to acupuncture and Chinese medicine that had to do with ophthalmology. I went to China, I went to Europe, I went anywhere I could find anybody who had any experience. So I came back and I had a nice compilation of notes, and I had other practitioners asking me if I could help teach them some stuff. Uh, Fast forward, wrote a couple books, got involved with some research studies, started teaching other acupuncturists. Then the internet came out, a lot of more word of mouth came out. So it took on a life of its own, and here we are.
What I also know about you is you take everything you do like you did in Taekwondo, like you do in anything. You go
Hmm.
for it all.
Yep.
And every time we have had any kind of conversation, it is, yeah, I know. I know who this person is so
Yeah.
well. So the messenger, Manny was the messenger,
Yep.
absolutely, and opened up those doors.
Yeah. And we have to listen sometimes. Sometimes these people come into our lives, and it's just that, having that ability to listen and hear and see those people that come into your lives that are going to be that level of life changing are just so important. So I feel blessed not only to have him come into my life at that time, but also for my life to be arranged in a relatively such a peaceful place at that time, where I was just able to receive and go with something that acupuncture is already far out. And now treating eyes, you're like, are you kidding?
Hold on. Do you also treat loss of hearing?
So I haven't, I've done a little bit of that. I have done more tinnitus, some hearing loss
Yeah.
due to like infections. If it's a lot of nerve damage, it's difficult. I get about a 50-50. I don't get the results that I get with vision. Hearing loss,
Or
ear stuff is
tinnitus?
about 50-50.
What about tinnitus, you said?
So tinnitus depends. A lot of, if it's due to like TMJ, a lot of people grind their teeth and there's a lot of tension in the jaw, and sometimes that could cause pressure on the nerves around the ear, and you get tinnitus from that. Those respond amazingly to acupuncture. But if it's people who are like
Mhm.
jackhammering in construction sites, or playing loud music, or roadies and not paying attention to their ears, that's long-term damage. That's tough to recover.
So I'm going to ask him some things because here you go. This is who he is. So I came across some research, doing some research on something else, but behind it, there was a guy who ran a tractor on a
Yeah.
farm when he was 23 and got bad tinnitus. When he was 60 something, he had a stroke that injured the caudate and the putamen, and
Mm.
he gained back all and no more
Amazing.
tinnitus. So does that say anything to you about the pathways?
It says a lot about a lot of things. So
Thank
the
you.
first thing
I thought so.
for the meridians, but again, you got the old story about the blind guy who got kicked in the head by a horse in Denmark and got their vision back. So there's a couple of things. One is trauma, we know from adults, and this is like, I am not on any level assuming to know everything that happened, but here's a couple of theories. One is the body responds to trauma with like stem cells and repair, regeneration, neuroplasticity. So in acupuncture, we know that micro traumas around the eyes, wherever in the body, can cause a migration of stem cells, nerve growth factors, so on and so forth, to heal nerves, vascular system, organs, so on and so forth. So these traumas can mobilize the immune system, the vital chi of the body, the prana, whatever you want to call it, the life force energy to heal. And sometimes it takes a disruption for the body to go, oh shoot, I need to get on that. So we have this traumatic action, traumatic situation that seemingly doesn't have anything to do with
Mhm.
anything, and then all of a sudden you have these healings and these connections being rewired because it just knocks something out of place that was into place, and the healing response. I think some people just get lucky, or again, they're lined up. Who knows? They can be in the right place at the right time to receive that healing, which seems like a trauma, but it ends up being a blessing for them. So there's a lot of layers going on with that, as you know.
There are a lot of layers going on. I love it. And I'm
Yeah,
thinking, oh my
there's a
God,
lot going on with that stuff.
because we've talked about you have a family, you have
Yeah,
sons who you adore, and everything, you take everything deeper
yeah.
without a doubt, right? And I watch you when you walk in. Here's something that I do know as a nurse too. Years and years ago, because I haven't been a nurse since practicing since 1973. I was
Mhm.
10, 11 years. So we knew that there was a doctor in the hospital who would walk in, never saw the client before, and know what to do immediately.
Yeah.
And others would go straight by the laboratory tests and all that, and they don't know what to, but they think maybe, right? And we knew he was guided. I think it's the Brooklyn air for us personally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And the Bronx. And
Yeah,
was
yeah.
raised in
The
Brooklyn.
boroughs.
And
Yeah.
all those boroughs I was in. So anyhow, when he was able to do that, and I've seen this in very few people, like chiropractors, when I moved, I went to 7 different ones for a consult and walked out.
Yeah.
It was the
Yeah.
eighth and ninth that I went because they have to have some intuition about what they're doing. It
Sure.
can't be by the book. That's ridiculous. I mean, George Goodhart, the founder of applied kinesiology,
Hmm.
I was invited to the workshops as a guest of his, and I was
Mm.
invited to have a table and teach about essential oils and as a friend. But he would do the same thing. And I said at dinner one night, George, I watched you talk about something like the glabella fault or what. And you looked in the audience and you said, you, come on. You saw what was going on, didn't you? Right? He goes, yeah, I see. But it's not so duplicatable, right?
Yeah.
You are not duplicatable. I've watched that because he walks in. I don't care. In my room, at least, I know this.
Hmm.
You go there and, different points or same point or no, extra points or no, less. Because whether you see it, comfortably see it literally with your intuitive ability,
Hmm.
or you just direct knowledge, we call it, know it, it's always there in you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I feel like I, it's one of the few places I love sitting in the waiting room there. We have, I have to say, most of the time, I have met some of the nicest people from the world around
Yeah.
sitting there
Yeah.
in the stories. And again and again, from the very first, I'm listening to people and I'm saying, you're from where? Pakistan? Oh, okay. But he's number one in the world. Yes, he is. So I'm telling all of you who are watching this, you're getting a small inkling of how important it is to know this person. I wouldn't want to ever be without you in the world.
Oh, thank
You're
you.
amazing. You have restored most of my vision.
Yep.
And just to give a
It's
clue
true.
to people, I've worn glasses since I'm 40 something because I had injuries early on, serious ones to my head. So I've always worked on it, but didn't get very far. All the treatments you give, right, from the very first, I can now open up my phone, for instance, and read the small print without my glasses, which is
Mm.
shocking, and long distance, because I had eventually both issues for many things. And every time I go, they improve. And of course, the worst part of it was gone. So what can I say? I wanted everybody to know you. And if they're lucky, they get to see you or meet with you and have
Yeah.
treatment for anything. I would
Yeah.
go to you for just about anything I need.
Yeah.
You're
And
amazing.
that's the thing too. If I can't help, we don't accept all patients. And unfortunately, there are people that I don't think I can help. And interestingly, there are people who come in that I don't think I can help. And I'm like, they get crazy results. So I've learned to never say never. If somebody comes needing help and they're open to trying, and I feel resonance with them, let's give it a shot. I can't guarantee results. There's a high probability you'll get results, but I can guarantee that I'll do my absolute best, everything in my power with everything I have to take care of you and help you get the results you're looking for. You got me. Um, and then we see how it goes.
And that is Dr. Andy Rosenfarb. That's who he is. Totally. Uh, you, the focus you have and the clarity you have is special. All I can say is thank you.
Yeah, yeah. It's important, and it's a lot of these people, as you know, one of the biggest issues or challenges that people face is they go to their eye doctor and there is no solution, right? A lot of these conditions, macular degeneration, eye strokes, retinitis pigmentosa, which is genetic night blindness, even glaucoma. They focus on the eye pressure, but they don't do anything for the optic nerve. So there's limited or no treatment for a lot of these conditions. And people say, doctors tell their patients, go home. There's nothing for you. There's nothing we could do. Your vision's getting worse. No, it's not. It's my eyes. I know. So this is an people who are self-advocating and proactive, looking for help. We invite people to call to find or reach out to find out if or how we might have something available for them, especially people who are in situations and have conditions that I have a lot of experience. We've treated over 10,000 patients from over 50 different countries, as you were talking about, over the last 30 years. And I know it works and I know what's going to be difficult. So it's just offering hope to people who are told, you're going to go blind. Go home, start reading Braille, get ready to get not seeing
I,
eye dog, a cane.
I know. I had a
Scare you.
script and I threw it in the garbage when a different eye doctor than I see now, said, you need a surgeon, you'll need injections, you'll need this and that. And I said, uh-huh. And I went home and called my friend and said, what do you know? And so I want you all to understand that. And all the links to reach him are down below the YouTube. So thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. So great to see you again.
Same here.
Love and appreciate you.
Thank you.
Have a great rest of your evening. Bye, everybody.
This is Soul Talk. This is Nancy Olin Weber saying, watch and learn. He's amazing. Take care, everybody. Bye.
Good night.
Good night.